You're listening to The Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 in Tuscaloosa.
Encephalitis numbers are rising. Click TuscaloosaThread.com for more local news, sports, and weather coverage all throughout the day. It's free. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV. Crimson Tide Kickoff. Play-by-play for Alabama sports and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for the Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
You talk about running. I haven't run literally, and I haven't worked out this morning, but I've been going. Thursday mornings is the morning that I do the Sidelines Live show out of Memphis. And I usually try to get here to the radio station early so I can get up here, and I set up in a different studio that's empty and do that show, then just walk across the hall, and I'm ready to go in here. But today running a little bit behind, so I made it, but they were, beeping me. So I sat down here in the parking lot in my car and did the show. And they run right up until 9 o'clock when I start. And I try to usually duck out just a little bit early. I've been 8:55 or so, but we got in the middle of a discussion, so it was 8:57 and I'm still sitting in my car. So then I got to run. I got my hands full because I got my water. Usually I have a water bottle, but I was out of water bottles. I was out of bottles of water, so I had to grab a cup, and I had to fill up my cup with water. I had to put my Pepsi Zero Sugar, which I got to bring you some of those. I keep saying that, Chase, but that Buffalo Rock provides me with, and had to run and get it in the refrigerator, had to get up here, change out the headset with Barry, and change out the little, windscreen on the microphone and wipe everything down. And so Chase is playing the open, and I'm jumping in the chair, and I haven't even got everything pulled up on the computer yet, but it doesn't matter. Hey, we're ready to roll. It's a Thursday edition of the Gary Harris Show. And I will tell you this, I'm loaded today. I have got a great show on tap that I'm going to tell you all about here in just a second. But first, before we go any further, I want to tell you about Alabama Credit Union. The first hour sponsor, just been great to me as not only as an advertiser, but as a financial institution. I'm a member, and I love being a part of Alabama Credit Union, and I know that you will as well. Your trusted partner for our financial success. Embrace financial well-being with Alabama Credit Union. That's what they're all about. Member-owned and not-for-profit. Discover the heart and soul of our member-owned credit union, empowering our members, enriching our community. Find out more at alabamacu.com. That's alabamacu.com, or you can go by and see them at one of their many locations around the great state of Alabama. Alabama Credit Union, loans for real life. Some rules and restrictions do apply. See if you're eligible for membership. Then join today and feel good about your money. And put a little extra cha-ching in your pocket. All right, here's the lineup for today. When I told you we were loaded, I was not kidding. 9:30, the coach, Ellis Johnson, breaks down the first week of SEC football action as only he can. Then at 10 o'clock, Chase, how about this? Damian Square, former Alabama defensive lineman, former longtime NFL defensive lineman, and now the new sideline voice for the Crimson Tide Sports Network for Alabama radio broadcast. We've got Damian Square joining us this morning at 10 o'clock to talk about Alabama football and his entry onto the sideline and his first game coming up Saturday night against Western Kentucky. Also his NFL career. We can't wait to visit with Damian Square. I've known him for a long, long time. Well, since he was a player here, and know his wife, Brandy, very well. Of course, his brother-in-law, Robbie Ashford, former quarterback at Oregon, Auburn, and now at South Carolina. So, how about that?
Wow.
Yeah, that's Brandy's brother. So football family all the way around. I can tell you that. So we're going to visit with, Square at 10 o'clock, and then at 10:30, it's my buddy Jeff Spiegel, sports anchor, host of The Zone, ABC 3340 in Birmingham. He'll be with us for his weekly visit. In between, we'll take your phone calls on the Pinnacle Park at North River hotline. Pinnacle Park at North River, luxurious townhome community near gorgeous Lake Tuscaloosa. Find out more at pinnacleparknr.com. So we are ready to roll here on this Thursday morning. And when you look ahead now, it's here. college football week 1 is here because we got a bunch of games tonight, and we'll dive into those too. We got a bunch of games tonight. We got a big high school game tonight with Pickens Academy being at home tonight against Tuscaloosa Academy up in Reform. Big game. We've got Thompson High School going up to Nashville. I think they're playing Lipscomb tonight. I'll double check on that. So we got high school football, but we got a busy college schedule too. So we'll run down all those games for you. And then, tonight I'm going to be busy at the TV station. Chase, this is one of those nights that, and just like, of course, obviously tomorrow night with Football Friday, but, I usually try to leave the station and get a little dinner break before the 10. But on nights like tonight and tomorrow night, there's no leaving. I do my radio show here. I have the little bit of midday break that I get to do whatever I need to do. And then when I get into the TV station, I am there from the time I get in until after the 10 o'clock news. It's nonstop because there's just so much going on tonight with, we'll be sending somebody up to Reform. Stu McCann's going to be up in Nashville with Thompson. All the college games. I've got to record some college games with Jacksonville State playing, UAB playing, on the streams. So what a night ahead. So we're looking forward to that. As far as Alabama is concerned, it is what it is. I don't want to say the hay is in the barn yet because they've got to practice today, or they're practicing this morning right now. And then tomorrow they'll do, they'll do a little walkthrough, a little light practice. And then Saturday, you still have when you have a night game, you have all day, at the hotel, and they go over stuff and have, their meeting rooms and all of that. So there's still preparation going on right up until they go to the stadium on Saturday afternoon. Let me make note of this too for you fans. There's been quite a bit that's changed from Nick Saban to Kalen DeBoer. Coach DeBoer is an established head coach. As we've talked about a lot, 104-12 is his record. He knows how he wants to do things, and it's quite a few of the things are different than the way Nick Saban did them. In addition to the football stuff, the radio show, Hey Coach, is now on Wednesday night. It was last night. I think some people are still adjusting to that. But the Walk of Champions, which has traditionally been 2 hours before the game. In other words, for a 6 o'clock game, Alabama would arrive at 4 p.m., 30 minutes earlier this year. So on Saturday, they're going to be there at 3:30. So all you folks that want to line up there along the north end zone Walk of Champions to see the team come in, make note, they're going to come in at 3:30. So it's going to be 30 minutes earlier than normal. And I know that'll be a big deal because if you show up, at 3:45 to get ready for the 4 o'clock Walk of Champions, they're already going to be in the stadium. So please make note of that because I know not only do fans love that, but being Coach DeBoer's first game, I know people are really pumped about that, Chase, to be able to get out there for the Walk of Champions. So it'll be at 3:30 on Saturday. The game itself, last I looked, and tomorrow I debut my SEC point spread predictions. And let me say this too, Chase. I went by T-Town Menswear and T-Town Gallery University Mall yesterday and picked up our first Bama football trivia giveaway. It's the full-size Greg Gamble print of the Gravedigger with Jalen Milroe on the left side and then making the throw. And then on the right side of the print, and I'll put a picture out on social media tonight, is Bond making the catch. It is beautiful. It's valued at $250, and we're going to give that away tomorrow in our Bama football trivia contest. So the next couple of days are going to be crazy, and just glad to be a part of it. A couple of other notes, though, in sports outside of football. Somebody break up the Braves. I mean, wow, they are, even with all the injuries, Atlanta has gotten hot. I mean, they went into Minnesota and they won 3 in a row over the Twins on the road. And so what does that mean? Well, it sets them up to go into Philadelphia for a huge 4-game series beginning this evening. The Braves are just 5 games back now of the Fighting Phils. So if they can win that series in Philadelphia, now it's on the road, but Braves beat the Twins last night 5-1 to pull to within 5 games of the Phillies. Now they get 4 games with Philadelphia. I'm just saying, Braves could take 3 out of 4. I mean, all of a sudden, it's game on. And Atlanta, we know how shorthanded they are. I mean, now they have really benefited from getting Michael Harris back, but still without Austin Riley, still without Acuna Jr. for the season. Ozzie Albies, still short a little bit on pitching, but give the Braves credit now. They've gone 8-2 in their last 10. They've won 3 in a row. And they're just 5 back headed into the series at Philadelphia. So we're off and running here on the Gary Harris Show. Your phone calls are welcome in the next segment on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline, 205-342-9904. Did you listen to Hey Coach last night? What did you think about what Coach DeBoer had to say, what Jalen Milroe had to say? If you've got some thoughts on that, give us a call. We'd love to hear from you. 205-342-9904. We've got Damian Square at 10 o'clock this morning. Before that, we'll have the Coach Ellis Johnson at 9:30, Jeff Spiegel at 10:30. We'll take our first time out, and we'll come back with more. This is the Gary Harris Show on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC, your home for University of Alabama sports. As much as Innisfree has evolved, it will always be that place to escape and have a good time. Whether it's for a game day weekend, to reminisce on college days, or to create new memories, if you're looking for a good time, there's only one thing to do. Head to the Free at 1925 University Boulevard. And don't forget about the Lucky Lunch Meat and 3 special.
It can happen right now. Find out how to bring your ideas to life at Dell.com. Welcome to now.
Since 2011, Billy's Sports Grill, located on Main Avenue in historic downtown Northport, has been serving their legendary signature chicken sandwich, award-winning wings, and handcrafted cocktails. Billy's is also the spot to watch all your favorite sporting events with big screen, high-definition televisions in both dining rooms, at the bar, and outside on the beautiful patio. Come by and say hello to Kim and Lisa, the Billy's Management Dream Team. Billy's, good food, good friends, and good time.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partially sunny today. The chance of a few isolated showers or thunderstorms this afternoon or this evening. The high today 97, tonight's low 74. Tomorrow morning sunshine, isolated storms by afternoon. The high 95. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
You're listening to the Gary Harris Show. For Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
9:16, welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. Billy's Sports Grill in beautiful, historic downtown Northport is ready for football season. Of course, they're ready for all seasons, but great place to go. I know so many of you have told me, thank you, Gary, for letting us know about Billy's. We love it. We live sitting out on the patio, and football season is really special for a lot of reasons. One of them is the unique shuttle service that Billy provides. Kim Lubinsky, General Manager Billy's, joins us this morning to discuss it. Good morning, Kim. How are you?
Good morning, Gary. How are you?
Doing great. Once again this year, Billy's is offering the awesome shuttle service for the 6 o'clock game tomorrow night. Come on in, eat lunch, watch some games on the many big screen TVs inside, outside at the bar area, hang out for a while, then just leave your car, hop on the shuttle, right across the bridge, through downtown Tuscaloosa, right at the footsteps of Bryant-Denny Stadium. They'll drop you out, watch the game, pick you up after, and bring you back. So give us, I guess I kind of said it all, but give us some details, what time it's going to start running and how it's going to work for tomorrow.
Yes, sir. So basically what you said, but, we'll start it 2 hours before the game. So we'll start at about 4 o'clock and we'll run it all the way until 2 hours after the game. And they'll just keep going back and forth. So if you miss the first one, you can hop on the next and so on. And you don't even have to stay for the whole game. If you want to leave throughout it, just give us a call and we'll come grab you.
I mean, it's so many people are taking advantage of this. And like I said, it's also an opportunity to enjoy Billy's. And I know, of course, I come all the time. We know that. But at the same time, with it being a game day tomorrow, games are going to crank up at 11 a.m. tomorrow. You guys are going to be opening, as I said, 2 dining areas, that outdoor patio area, which people love. It's got fans. It's got TVs. And, of course, the bar area as well. So I know you have games going on all day long, right?
All day long, and there's plenty of space, so, come on in.
And then for tomorrow night, if for some reason you don't want to go to the game, Billy's is going to have Alabama on probably all the TVs tomorrow night.
Yes, that's usually how it works is, once Alabama starts, That's our pride and joy right there.
And again, I have actually, people have asked me about the shuttle service, and even though, because I live just down the street from Billy's at First Domain Condominiums, and I have a parking pass to get in, but sometimes I'll go down, especially for a night game, I'll probably do it tomorrow. I'll go down to Billy's that afternoon, I'll get something to eat, I'll watch some of the games, and I'll take the shuttle myself, just so I don't have to fool with driving in. So it's that nice, it's that convenient, and it's ready to go tomorrow. And of course, don't want to just jump straight ahead to tomorrow. I know, open for lunch today and dinner tonight, high school football, people coming in and so forth. So you guys are ready to go.
We are definitely ready.
All right, Kim. Well, we appreciate you.
All right. Thank you very much, Gary.
All right. Kim Lipinski, General Manager at Billy's Sports Grill in historic, beautiful downtown Northport, Alabama. All right. College football tonight. A lot of it. In fact, it's, week 0, I said last week, if they're going to have a week 0, I would really like them to do more than just a handful of games, to be honest with you. I'd like to have more action. They didn't have very much, but this week, a ton. And it starts tonight. So it's one of those things where if you're a college football fan, you have got your choice of a lot of games beginning tonight. And I'm not going to mention every one of these games, although I probably could, but I'll mention some of the key games tonight. There's some SEC games. There's some big games in the ACC, some ranked teams. So plenty of action tonight, both on television and on streaming. There'll be quite a few games. But Jacksonville State is at home tonight against Coastal Carolina. That's on the CBS Sports Network at 7 p.m. UAB is at home tonight against Alcorn State. That is at 7 p.m. on the ESPN Plus stream. Other games coming up on this Thursday evening. Let me just run them down for you. Heck, man, football fans want to know. Howard is at Rutgers. NC State, which is ranked number 24, hosts Western Carolina. Wake Forest is at home against North Carolina A&T. UCF at home against New Hampshire. Jackson State travels to UL Monroe. Lafayette is at Buffalo. Bowling Green hosts Fordham. Central Michigan hosts Central Connecticut. Arkansas is at home tonight. So we got an SEC game. Arkansas opens it up against Arkansas Pine Bluff at 6:30. That one's on ESPNU. Toledo's at home against Duquesne. Number 11, Missouri at home tonight, 7 p.m. against Murray State on the SEC Network. So that's an SEC game with a number 11 ranked team in America. We've got Kansas at home against Lindenwood. This is a big game tonight. This is probably the biggest game as far as national interest. North Carolina travels to Minnesota. That's 7 p.m. on Fox. North Dakota State is at Colorado. Coach Prime and the Buffaloes, and we know all the controversy swirling around Coach Prime and the Colorado program. They host North Dakota State, which is no pushover tonight. Southeast Louisiana is at Tulane. Northwestern State's at Tulsa. Utah, number 12 in the country, hosts Southern Utah. Eastern Illinois at Illinois. And Sacramento State at San Jose State. San Jose State, the Spartans. Interesting team there because you got a little bit of a local tie-in with San Jose State now. And a lot of people from our neck of the woods are going to be watching that game tonight because of the fact that you've got Sawyer Dearman, who played at a couple different high schools in the area and ACA, County High, then played at Alabama and has transferred to San Jose State. So a lot of people interested in how he plays tonight, me included. So that is a 9 p.m. game on True TV. Then tomorrow night, more college football before we get to Saturday. The Friday night schedule. Lehigh is at Army. Temple's at Oklahoma. SEC team. Now an SEC team. Florida Atlantic's at Michigan State. Elon at Duke. Wisconsin, Alabama's week 3 opponent, hosts Western Michigan. And TCU is at Stanford tomorrow night out on the West Coast. No Pac-12 anymore, but we're still going to have some late night football on the West Coast. So that's just the appetizer for Saturday. So if you're a college football fan and the getting back, Chase, to being a sportscaster, it's good, it's awesome, and it can be a little bit frustrating. You say, well, how's that? Well, let's like tonight. I'd love to be able to head out to Billy's or Innisfree, or Who's Q and Brew, and watch some of the games and just hang out like a fan. I can't do that. I got to work. That's the downside, don't always get to be a fan. I'll be monitoring games, but I'll be editing video. And like I said, we got high school games tonight. We got a busy night. So, there are times, that's why on Sunday, my one day off during the football season, I'm such a big NFL fan. I love to go do Sunday NFL, man. And, cause I like to get to be a fan too. So anyway, great weekend of college football. It is here. You can probably hear my voice this morning. I'm a little more pumped up than usual just because the adrenaline is shooting through me now, knowing that, it's here and I'm looking forward again. I'll be in the sports office tonight. It'll be one of those nights where I don't leave. I'll just have to stay there, but I'll have a game on my TV in my office, and then I'll have some games pulled up on the computer. And, of course I got to get ready for Football Friday tomorrow night too. So I got a ton of work over the next couple of days, but I am excited for college football. All right. Back to Alabama. I didn't even ask you because I'm full this morning anyway. Do we have any clips from Hey Coach last night? Did you get any of those?
Just a little bit. Just when Jalen came on the first segment. If you want to play that.
Yeah, let's play Jalen because, this is, we got a couple minutes before we hit the break. This is the new way. Again, Coach DeBoer's brought in a lot of different ways of doing things. One is a Wednesday night version of Hey Coach in the Kalen DeBoer show as opposed to Thursday night. And instead of a media guest, he brings in a player. And of course, last night was quarterback Jalen Milroe. I'll be honest with you. I love being the media guest, getting to sit up there with Coach quarterback Eli, now Chris Stewart, Tom Stipe, and all the folks there. But I think it was probably time to change that. I mean, the media version had been going on since 2007. So now to have a player up there. But this is from Hey Coach last night on the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Coach DeBoer, Chris Stewart being joined by Jalen Milroe.
For the Alabama Crimson Tide, I know you. Jalen Milroe, good to see you, sir.
Appreciate you for having me.
You were a guy that went from being starter to not to starter to almost national champion and almost getting to go to New York for the Heisman. Then you became the unquestioned leader with this guy to your right coming in. A lot of people wondered if you would stay first and foremost. Tell us why you chose to and also why you made sure you were the leader in making sure this guy felt at home.
That's a really good question. As I reflect, initially when the season ended and to coming into right now, it's all about setting goals and also worrying about, unfinished business, and we didn't, finish the page how we wanted to exactly from our 2023 season. And so transitioning going into the off season is all about, of course, as a group, as a team, it was reflecting and building off of the 2023 season. And I just felt that we had just had unfinished business and home was here in Alabama. And, prior to coming here, it was all about, setting short-term goals and long-term goals that I wanted to accomplish. And one of my short-term goals, coming into college was getting my degree in 3 years, which I was able to achieve that this past December. And then transitioning, going into the, thank you.
Great. That's awesome.
And so I had my graduation party in December, right after the graduation. And, I made an announcement to my family that was like, hey, I'm coming back for my senior year, and my next goal is to get my master's this next season. Awesome. And so when I say that and I mention that because, before any external factor that transpires within a season, within an off season, it's all about reflecting on your goals. And so I had goals that I wanted to accomplish. I want to improve as a leader, as a quarterback, and of course, accomplish my degree. And there's no better place I wanted to do that than Alabama. And I have great guys in the locker room with Tyler Booker, with Malachi Moore, Deontay Lawson, and the list goes on that I can reflect on, lean on those guys, because I don't think it's just a one-man show or a self-made decision. I don't believe in a self-made. I believe it takes a team, a village to support you and uplift you along your journey, and that's something I've had since I've been, the quarterback at Alabama.
Coach, you did name your captains about a week ago, and not surprising, this young man would be on that list. Tell me why it was so important for you to name the permanent captains now, and what allowed those young men to earn that honor.
Yeah, well, I announced it, but they were chosen by their teammates. And our team did an amazing job picking 4 captains. And obviously Jalen was one of them, and I was really happy there's more choices that would have been very deserving as well. I think we got a lot of good leaders on our team, but I thought they did a great job in understanding the importance of the leadership. And Jalen, just as a leader, he first of all holds himself accountable, extremely highly accountable, sometimes maybe too much, huh? Yeah. but he is so just, making sure he takes care of himself and his business. And what that allows him to do is never feel like when he speaks up and ask something else of someone else, and them holding them to the standard, that it's not something he wouldn't do on his own as well.
All right, that is Jalen Milroe.
/deal or text DEAL to 511-511. Text DEAL to 511-511 today. All dogs are unique. Your dog results can and will vary. Message and data rates may apply.
The best station in the state, breaking down Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. It's time for the Coach Ellis Johnson and his weekly segment, and now we can really dive headfirst into SEC football. Week 1 is here, and we've got a full slate of games. Can't break them all down for you, but we'll hit on as many as we can. Good morning, Coach. You ready to go?
Good morning, Gary.
We are going to get cranked up tonight. You know how it is. We're going to have TV inventory, so we've got games beginning tonight and tomorrow night into Saturday. So season openers are season openers. I don't know if you were ever involved in a Thursday night season opener, but for Arkansas at home against Arkansas Pine Bluff and Missouri at home against Missouri State, these are games certainly they should win. They're planning on winning, but it's Thursday night. I guess with it being the first game of the year, though, did they start their calendar back last week to keep everything on a normal game week? How do you do that? How do you handle that?
Yeah, they do. They count back from game day and consider, each day more what it is in reference to the game instead of what it is on the calendar. And one particular thing that we may talk about all of them, but the most important game this weekend, Gary, is Murray State and Missouri, because my son is coaching for his first college game tonight with Jody Wright at Murray State.
How about that? Well, Jody's a good friend of mine, and I've had him on the show, and I did not know that that is awesome. Yeah, and with, I know there's a lot of enthusiasm surrounding Murray State football. I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was going to get a plug in for Jody later, but, this is a new staff at a program that's got some great football history going into the SEC tonight to play the number 11 team in the country. It's big, obviously Missouri's favored to win the game and should win the game, but what a way for Missouri State to kick off the Jody Wright era.
Yeah, I mean, it's a tremendous opportunity. They don't feel tremendously strong, about their season. They're really in a building mode, and they're in the toughest AA conference. The Dakota teams and Montana teams, they've won it just about every year. But he's excited about it. He seems to feel there's a commitment there to get that thing back to where it used to be, and to be on national TV on a Thursday night when no one else is on, a great opportunity for them. So I hope they can make a good showing.
Yeah, that'd be interesting. For Missouri, though, here it is. I mean, this is a team that many people are picking to get into the playoff, to contend for, a spot in Atlanta. And first games are first games, but, it's on the SEC network. They're at home. It's a big game for them, too, I think, Coach, from the standpoint of they want to, establish themselves right off the bat as being legit. And if you're a little bit sloppy in that first game, question marks can come up in a hurry.
Absolutely. That's kind of what Eli's been talking about in the preseason. He wants their fan base and the whole Missouri family to get to a point where they're not, overly expecting things that they know they're good, et cetera, and can be good consistently. So, yeah, I think, I don't mean to say this in a negative way, but that football team he put together last year was a lot of things had to just hit right. Just like the little running back who transferred in from a smaller level. And without him and some other pieces in the puzzle there, I don't think they have the season they did. Plus, I think they won 4 of their games in the last possession. So they really do want to prove that last year was not just a flash in the pan, and they've got the chance to get off to a good start tonight.
And for Arkansas, Sam Pittman's, in the hot seat a little bit. You're playing an in-state school, but an overmatched Arkansas Pine Bluff team. I guess it's just an opportunity to go out there in front of your home fans and post a win and kind of get a little positive momentum.
Yep. Every SEC team this weekend, Gary's at home. Of course, that's one reason is because they're playing lesser opponents. Georgia is technically designated the home team in Atlanta against Clemson. And it will be like a home game for them probably since it's that close to Athens. And there are only 2 SEC teams that are not favored, and that's Vanderbilt and Florida. So it's just a week where we'll know something about these teams, but I don't think we'll know as much about most of them except the ones that play their Power 4 opponents, and there are only 4 of those games.
Tomorrow night, Oklahoma's at home, and their SEC first game is an SEC team against Temple. Temple's one of those teams. I haven't really studied them. I know some years they've been pretty good. Got a little bit of name recognition, and I know Oklahoma wants to make a big statement as they join the SEC on a Friday night kickoff.
Yeah, a chance to then also have kind of the spotlight on them with nobody else playing. And it's always a big game, but again, I think this is one of the games that's a 40-point spread, and one of the games where you just want to come out of it healthy, and you want to come out of it thinking you played well and performed well and didn't lay an egg.
All right, let's get to Saturday. Let's get to some of the big ones. Let's start with Clemson and Georgia and Atlanta. You already referenced that. Early kick. That's kind of odd to me. Of course, again, TV inventory is a big part of this. 11 a.m. Central Time kick, 12 noon Eastern Time. Georgia's number 1 team in the country. Clemson, Kirby did say something this week that was interesting to me because Clemson and Dabo have kind of refused to go the portal route. Kirby said, most of these teams are breaking in a lot of new players, a lot of new portal players. Clemson knows their roster. They've got guys that are seasoned in that system. And in the first game, that could be a big advantage. Would you agree?
I would. The only thing is that Kirby's got a returning, starting, established quarterback, and I think that's always a huge factor on an opening game. But he makes a good point. And they don't go that heavy in the portal either, but he does take more than Dabo does. But it'll be one of these games that maybe starts to show whether you can do it the way Dabo wants to do it or you're not going to be able to do it. And I wish it would work because I think it's the best way for college football to proceed, but it is what it is, and that's the rules they're stuck with today. I don't think this is a 13-point ball game, but I do think Georgia is a better football team right now. Clemson will really have to play well. Klubnik's going to have to, be more consistent than he was last year as far as taking care of the football, and then it should be a really good football game.
Florida at home against Miami. 2:30 Central kick in the Swamp there at Gainesville. A huge game. We've talked a lot about Florida's schedule, the grind of the SEC, and then you also play Florida State, Central Florida, and Miami. Just brutal schedule. For Billy Napier, man, boy, you could really build a lot of goodwill. And for Mario Cristobal, they're a top 20 team. How do you see this game?
Well, it's a tough one to pick. I mean, they're only spread, I think, about 2 or 3 points. But I think playing at Florida will give them a little bit of an edge. And I think Florida will pull it out. They desperately need to win this ball game. I think it's a mental thing. You know as much as I do how negative things are down there right now. And I think Florida's got a better football team than the press and the other environment says they are. But as you know, sometimes those distractions can really really get into a football team and a football program. So this is a huge game for Florida, I think.
Yeah, I do too. I'm with you. Absolutely huge, to say the least. Let's look at a couple of other games that aren't just cookie cutter. Texas is at home. They're number 4 in the country, but Colorado State is not a bad team. And a team that, again, this isn't, to me, there's 3 openers. There's the openers where both teams are ready to go, a Georgia, Clemson, an LSU, USC, Miami and Florida. There is the openers like a Arkansas Pine Bluff for Arkansas or Alabama A&M for Auburn, where the SEC team is just so dominant in terms of personnel they can just roll the ball out there and win. And then there's that mid-tier opener. Alabama's got one against Western Kentucky, and so does Texas, against a team that your fan base expects you to roll over. But Colorado State is no pushover, are they?
No, they've had some seasons in the past where they've beaten some Power 4 type teams, and I think it's a game. The other thing I'm a little concerned about, Texas had some really bad misfortune, what have you called it, with injuries in preseason. And my understanding, I know they lost one running back or starter, and I think they lost another one. So these are some things you certainly don't want to happen at any point, but you don't want that going into your opening game. But they're too good at quarterback. I don't see them having a problem with Colorado State. I do think they need to play well. And when you play one of these type games like you're describing, you got to come out of it with a great performance, so you don't have all these negativity hanging around your program until the next week.
And maybe the biggest game of all of them, because it is a on-campus game, is Notre Dame at Texas A&M. You got Texas A&M, the Mike Elko era starting. Jimbo Fisher's gone. I've talked to some people out there that cover A&M. They say, man, it's night and day. Just the vibe, the confidence around the program, quiet confidence, versus a Notre Dame team that has national championship aspirations. This ought to be a heck of a game on Saturday night at Kyle Field.
Well, this one really got my attention, and they've got this thing spread with Texas A&M being a 2 or 3 point favorite. I guess it's the home field advantage. I mean, Notre Dame picked to be in the top 10 this year, and Texas A&M in a transition year. And they got players. We both know that. But they're in a transition year, had a lot of roster turnover. Elko obviously done a great job at Duke. But this one will be interesting, and I think it is an unusual deal now that they're a 3 point favorite.
Southern Miss, one of your old schools, at Kentucky. And this is another one of those. And Southern Miss has been, battling to kind of get back to that reputation of being a giant killer. Will Hall, young, energetic head coach there. His dad, Bobby Hall, was a longtime coaching legend in the high school ranks. I don't know if Southern Miss is able to go on the road and make it interesting, but I know this. They've got a reputation for doing it. And Kentucky, had better be ready tomorrow night.
Yeah, Kentucky certainly knows some of the history of Southern Miss, and I don't think they'll be caught asleep. If it was the Southern Miss I first coached at, we had Brett Favre and some of those guys, we might have gone up to Kentucky and beat them. But I don't think they're going to have any trouble with them, because I think they'll be prepared and aware of the fact that Southern Miss has pulled those kind of upsets. And so Kentucky at home with about 28 points, I think, on the spread. And I think they'll get off to a good start and probably a very convincing win.
We mentioned Vanderbilt being an underdog at home, and that goes to show you, number one, that they're not very good. Number two, that they're playing a pretty good team. But for Clark Lee, last year was a disaster. I still like him as a coach. He knows that school. That's his school. Do they have a shot against Virginia Tech at home? And what would it mean for the Commodores if they could get a win on Saturday afternoon?
Yeah, I think they got a shot, but I do think, I think Virginia Tech's a better football team. They need something like this badly, Gary. I know he's a really good football coach, but Vanderbilt, we could sit here and talk about it for an hour and come up with all the different reasons, and it isn't but one reason. They're not an SEC football program in the commitment they have to the program. And Clark's a heck of a football coach, but, you can't work miracles. I don't think they'll have any problem with Vanderbilt. I think it'd be a decently close game, but, probably beat them 10 to 15 points.
Team that you're very familiar with, South Carolina, with Shane Beamer, looking to have a bounce back season, and they open up against Old Dominion.
Yeah, another one of these type games where you just want to make sure you play well and you feel good about it after you come out of it. I sort of feel like if there's one team in that bottom half of the conference that's got a shot to surprise everybody and end up in the top half, it may be South Carolina. They really have revamped their roster, and I don't know, I just get some really positive things coming out of there and what they feel about what they've got. They think they're very underrated. They don't have any illusions about the conference they got to compete in, but they feel like they're better than people are giving them credit. And I feel like Missouri might be one that could fall out of the top half. And I'm interested to watch that as the season rolls along. I think those two teams might be switching places somewhere along the conference finish.
All right, before we get to Alabama and Auburn's openers, I'll mention quickly, we won't go into it. Mississippi State hosts Eastern Kentucky. Ole Miss hosts Furman. But Sunday night, we got a huge game. And out in Las Vegas, which is kind of neat, but you got LSU opening up against Southern Cal. And that'll be a 6:30 Central Time kick on ABC. Again, one of these high-profile, neutral site games. A winner kind of gets a lot of momentum going into the week 2, and the losers behind the 8 ball right off the bat. This is an interesting matchup to me. How do you see this one playing out?
This one is interesting. Of course, I misspoke a while ago. It's one of the 2 neutral site games. And this one, I don't feel like Georgia going to Atlanta and playing Clemson still sort of like a home game. Right. LSU is designated the home team, but this is not like a home game for them. Both teams have to break in new quarterbacks. I don't know. I feel like LSU's roster, top to bottom, is better than Southern Cal's. And since it's in a neutral site, I guess it's a coin flip, any kind of advantage there. So I think LSU will be fine. I think it's going to be a good close ball game, but I think they'll come out, and I think they're a lot better defensively.
All right, let's get to Bama and Auburn. We'll start with Auburn. As I said, I think there's 3 types of openers. There's the high-profile opener where you're juiced up to play. There's a game like Alabama's got against Western Kentucky where, fans expect you to roll, but you're playing a pretty good team. And then there's this game. Auburn is just personnel-wise, it's going to be a no contest against Alabama and A&M. So what are you looking to get out of this game if you're Hugh Freeze and the Tigers?
Well, I think one of the things he's going to want to feel like when he comes out of it, he sort of restructured the way they're going to, I guess you'd say, control their offense. He wants to get back into the play calling, and he made a coordinator shift. And bringing in Derek, I think, is a familiar guy to him. And I think that it's going to be probably an indicator of whether Hugh's got a complete control of that offense like he wants. And see if they could hit it on all cylinders and, really operate smoothly. Passing game's got to improve. Run game was okay last year. They've got to have some balance if they're going to get back to playing in the really top half of the league. So I think any game's important, but I think that's the biggest thing I'd be looking for coming out of here, just how well they look like they found that offensive balance. I'm not sure A&M's a good enough opponent to know that, but it will give Auburn a good indicator for themselves.
And for Alabama, the Kalen DeBoer era begins Saturday night at 6 p.m. at home against Western Kentucky, a quality football team out of Conference USA, a team with Tyson Helton that's established, he's established head coach there now. They run that Petrino brothers offense. Our friend Will Friend is the offensive coordinator there, so they're going to have some toughness up front on offense. They're a team that can score some points, and I don't know that they can slow Alabama down, but they've got T.J. Finley coming in as the quarterback at LSU, at Auburn. Last year had a huge year at Texas State. So for Alabama, this is one of those games where, again, Alabama's better. We know that, but Western Kentucky is somewhat of a formidable opponent. Would you agree?
Yes, they're, like you said, they're an established, good program. I don't know how good they expect it to be this year, but you just mentioned 2 or 3 coaches there. I've got tremendous respect for. And they've been there a while, and they got their program and their roster in place. And I think they'll be a decent opponent to Alabama. I would say a little bit similar to Auburn. What I think DeBoer would want to feel like when he comes out of this is how is the offense, because it's going to be a different offensive system. And he got a really good, talented quarterback. a lot of physical tools. And I think that's going to be the biggest indicator for them coming out is how well they feel like their offense is gelling and coming together, and is it what they want it to be. Defensively, they're going to be fine. They lost some really good players, but they replaced them, and they're going to have talent on defense, and they're going to be good again on that side of the ball.
Coach Ellis Johnson with us, breaking down week 1 of the SEC football schedule. Overall, I kind of like what the SEC is doing, or these teams are doing. You got a good mixture here. You got some high-profile games. You got some games that are, as we've pointed out, interesting. And then you still have a few where, again, it's just, it is what it is. These teams are playing overmatched teams. But there's enough excitement with this week 1 schedule to get people really pumped up, I think. Would you agree with that, Coach?
Absolutely. I think in the future, what you're alluding to, I think in the future it's going to be very interesting how they schedule these early games when they go to the 9-game schedule, because I think that's inevitable. And I don't know if you'll see a lot of pansies or if you'll see a lot of play on the other Power 4 colleges, but it's going to be interesting when they have to adapt to that 9-game scheduling.
All right, you've got, as we said, you got a son coaching for Murray State. You've got one at Clemson. You got a lot of personal interest in the program at South Carolina, Alabama, Auburn. You got ties all over this league. Are you going to a game this weekend, or are you just going to be watching on TV? What's Coach Ellis Johnson's plans for the weekend?
Hey, Gary, you left out my daughter's a senior at Auburn, and she's doing an internship this semester with the athletic department in recruiting.
Well, there you go. So
it's all spread out. Yeah. But I don't know. I'm going to watch TV tonight. I'm going to definitely watch that Murray State game. And I've been teasing you, be sending signals on offense, and I said, well, don't screw any of them up because we'll figure it out. But it's fun. I don't know why they all ended up wanting to get into this business. They were all born after I was an established football coach. Right. They didn't see my high school days and my days where I was on bus rides for 7 hours. So I hope that's something they really enjoy, but they all seem to be heading that direction.
Well, I'm with you tonight. I'm going to be watching that Murray State game closely too, because I love Jody Wright. Again, his dad, Lynn, longtime high school coach here. His brother's the head coach at Tuscaloosa Academy, and they play tonight. So they don't even get to, Josh won't get to watch Murray State play tonight live, but I hope they're competitive tonight, and I think he's going to do a good job there, though. He's got a great attitude. Well, Coach, listen,
Alabama folks may remember he had 2 tenures there with Coach Saban.
Yeah.
Jody was my graduate assistant at Mississippi State, and I knew his dad real well, and, winning his high school several times recruiting, but just a wonderful family. So we got to pull for the Racers tonight.
Absolutely we do. Thank you, Coach.
Thank you, Gary.
All right, it's 9:53. We'll take a timeout. We'll come back and wrap up this first hour of the Gary Harris Show and get you ready for hour number 2. Also want to get you ready for the YMCA of Tuscaloosa. No joining fee now through the end of September. Join for free. Also 10% off your personal training packages. That's at the YMCA of Tuscaloosa, 2300 13th Street downtown. The Y is ready for you when you're ready for the Y.
Tuscaloosa's Old Colony Golf Course is an 18-hole championship layout designed by 1976 U.S. Open champion Jerry Pate. Director of Golf John Gray and fitting specialist Bob Montgomery are PGA certified. Mike Shivitz is the head professional and director of the Tuscaloosa Junior Golf Program. Call today to secure a tee time.
Goals to serve our clients. Purchase tickets before they sell out at ESWAChampionsball.com. That's ESWAChampionsball.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partially sunny today. The chance of a few isolated showers or thunderstorms this afternoon or this evening. The high today 97, tonight's low 74. Tomorrow morning sunshine, isolated storms by afternoon. The high 95. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Covering University of Alabama sports, as well as the national and local scene as well. The Gary Harris Show, only on Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 9:57. Time flies when you're having fun. We flew right through that first hour, but we've got another great hour coming up. We've got Damian Square, new sideline reporter for the Alabama radio broadcast for the Crimson Tide Sports Network at 10, and then we've got Jess Spiegel at 10:30. We'll try to get some phone calls in the second hour too, as we were really hitting it hard in the first hour. But we'll get some calls worked in here in the second hour as well. Second hour of the Gary Harris Show.
No prescription RSV treatments. Check eligibility and schedule your RSV vaccine at VaxAssist.com.
So where should we go next?
Sponsored by Pfizer.
Los Tarascos has been serving Mexican favorites like burritos, fajitas, and quesadillas since 1999. Their new location is at 4100 Owen Parkway in Northport. And of course, you can find Los Tarascos in Tuscaloosa at 110 Skyland Boulevard. The bar areas feature big screen television so you can enjoy your favorite sporting events. Los Tarascos features daily happy hour.
Tuscaloosa Tractor has great deals and financing programs on Kubota equipment to fit your budget. Tuscaloosa Tractor, Skyland Boulevard East. Don't you buy no ugly tractor.
Life doesn't wait for when your finances are in perfect order. It just happens. But no matter what surprises come your way, Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages, and auto loans. They offer an easy application process and fast decisions so you can stay focused on feeling good about whatever life brings your way. Alabama Credit Union will be here to help make it affordable with great personal loans, mortgages.
Honda comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. 1.9% APR for 36 months on 2024 Ridgeline models through Honda Financial Services. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for details. Offer ends 9/3/2024.
WTBC Tuscaloosa and W265CG Tuscaloosa, a Town Square media station. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. From the Fox Sports Studios in Los Angeles. Here's Kevin Wyatt.
Some NFL news as Patriots head coach Jared Mayo announcing that Jacoby Brissett will be the starting quarterback for New England's season opener against the Bengals. He'll be getting the nod over the third pick in this year's draft, Drake May. And the Browns restructuring the contract of Deshaun Watson. They're converting $44.79 million of this season's base salary into a signing bonus that'll create $35.83 million in cap space. So that leaves Cleveland with $62 million in room under the cap, which is the most in the NFL. Major League Baseball, the Braves wrapping up a 3-game sweep of the Minnesota Twins, 5-1. So Atlanta holding a 4-game lead against the New York Mets for the final wild card spot in the National League. Minnesota 3.5 games out of the AL Central, but they're still 3 games up on Boston for the wild card spot in the AL.
Now, this hour's West Alabama real-time news update from the Tuscaloosa Thread Newsroom.
A heat advisory is in effect for all of West Alabama until 9 tonight. Heat index values could reach 107 degrees. The U.S. Drought Monitor released this morning reveals the drought is worsening in West Alabama. Most of the area is abnormally dry, but sections of every county is in moderate drought. Lamar County in severe drought. AlDOT has announced it will halt all interstate lane closures throughout Alabama during the Labor Day holiday weekend to facilitate expected heavy traffic. Aaliyah says troopers will be out in force.
Get 24/7 local news coverage and sports updates when you download the free Tuscaloosa Thread app and sign up for twice daily email newsletters. The Gary Harris Show. UCM host Tider Insider TV. Crimson Tide Kickoff. Play-by-play for Alabama sports and sports director for WVUA 23. It's time for the Gary Harris Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, here we go. Hour number 2 of the Gary Harris Show right here on Tide 100.9 FM and 1230 AM WTBC. I'm Gary Harris. We got Chase Brunfeld right there on the other side of the glass, manning the controls, taking your phone calls on the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline 205-342-9904. And that's where we're going to go for the first interview of hour number 2 is out to the Pinnacle Park at North River Hotline to welcome in the newest member of the Crimson Tide Sports Network. Damian Square is going to be the sideline reporter this season for Alabama football on the radio and famed playing career. We're going to get into that and everything that led to this moment. Good morning, Damian. How are you doing? Damian, check and see what's going on there. I punched him through. Chase, see if you can figure out what's happening. Let's punch him back through. All right, try it again. All right, put him on hold and then.
Been a while.
All right, hey, Damien, I just now got you. We had a little technical snafu there. You were talking, we couldn't hear you. So good morning. Let's start that over. Good morning, my friend.
Good morning, Gary. It's been a while, man.
Yes, it has. Last time I talked to you, you were getting ready to play in a Super Bowl. So hey, it's yeah. What before we get to what's going to happen on Saturday? What a storied playing career. You came out of famed Yates High School in Houston. High school All-American, signed with the University of Alabama. And correct me if I'm wrong now, but I think you're one of very few people on this planet that didn't win 1 or 2, but you won 3 natties at Alabama, right?
I did win 3 national championships. I was actually a part of 3 national championships. I actually played in those 3 seasons where they won national championships.
I mean, just 2009, 2011, 2012. And I know, you probably feel like you should have gotten one in 2010, too.
No doubt about it. Probably the best football team I played on the whole time I was at Alabama when it comes to talent.
Yeah, so great career at Alabama. One of the key guys on that, some of the best defenses that we've seen in Alabama football history. And then went on and played a long time in the NFL, 9-10 years with a lot of different teams. What was that experience like? Because I know as a football player, especially once you got to be in high school and you saw you're going to be highly recruited, then you got to Alabama, it was your goal to play in the NFL. To be able to carve out a career that was that long, what was that like?
Man, that still makes me emotional, man, because I truthfully feel like I wasn't worthy, man. I definitely had to grind and, take everything because they definitely didn't have anything set out for me. But it was wonderful, man. Just traveling, the country and representing different cities, man, and getting to do the thing that I love, man. I always wanted to play in the National Football League. Most importantly, I wanted to play college football. And, I got to do that in Tuscaloosa, man. But to get to the NFL and carve out a 9-year career and play my last game in a Super Bowl, man, I couldn't write up a better story when you're talking about a kid that was raised on football, raised on the Dallas Cowboys, raised on ESPN, so just to be able to experience football like that, I couldn't ask for much more, man. I was a football kid, and like I said, it still makes me emotional to think about that I got the opportunity to do that in football. It's amazing.
Yeah, 9 years, 8 different teams, as you said, your final game as a member of the Cincinnati Bengals Super Bowl team. So just an amazing career. So let's jump. Before we get to Saturday, what's been going on the last 3 years since you retired from the NFL? Of course, you and your wife, Brandy, living in Houston. What's been happening with Damian Square and his family?
So we've been in the real estate, flipping some homes. We got a few garbage contracts going here, doing some residential garbage and things like that, and just helping out with kids, man. I try to put myself in a situation to help young athletes, period. Especially the ones that want to take it to the highest level. So I would travel, to different local universities and work with some of their younger guys and talk to some of their younger guys that were struggling with the schedule or just the whole routine of being a young athlete. And so that's what we've been doing lately, man, just giving our time, giving back, and also making a few investments, So, yeah, life has been good.
And you're an entrepreneur, too. Wow. And, of course, I mentioned your wife, Brandy, who you met at the University of Alabama. And
yes.
She became your wife, and she interned with me in the sports office. And, boy, y'all have you've got a beautiful family and a great marriage. And make sure you give her my best, too. I know she's a big part of everything that you've done. And it sounds like now with your business interests, she's right there with you in that, too.
No doubt about it. And the funny thing is, when I got in the house yesterday, I opened the door. And she looks at me and she says, Gary's going to call you. As to say, you better answer the phone.
How about that? Yeah. Hey, let me ask you this. Her brother, your brother-in-law, Robbie Ashford, started at Oregon. And I know you've supported him regardless. But is it a little easier now that he's at South Carolina rather than Auburn? Is it a little easier for the Square family?
It's much easier, man. We gave him so much hell at Auburn the time he was there, man. Of course, we had to support him because I've been knowing that kid since he was in kindergarten. So I took it as an honor, to be me because he followed me his whole time, man. So, it was very important for me to become something because I knew I had that little guy right behind me. But I support him at a high level because my son follows him.
Right.
So he kind of got me wrapped around his fingers because I know how much my son is inspired to be him. So I pour a lot into Robbie, man. But it is a lot easier to see him in that that, I don't even know what you call that color because it's not crimson.
Garnet, yes, garnet.
Yeah, whatever that is. They had to come up with some other word besides maroon, right?
Right.
Yeah, it's easier to support him now that he's not any type of tiger. No tiger. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know that Iron Bowl had to be stressful for y'all that year.
Oh,
good
my
news is,
God.
Alabama won and he played well, right? So it was best case scenario.
Oh, my God. Yeah, they won and he played well. And not only that, he was sick, man, because I had to leave the game early, of course, to make a flight in Atlanta because, you know, it gets a little tricky when you lose that hour.
Mm-hmm.
So, of course, we left the stadium in the blue, man, not knowing how the game was going to go. I'm in traffic. I hear Jalen Miro make the throw and I almost jumped out the window.
How about that? Yeah.
That was crazy. It did. And then, considering how his season was going, I mean, I knew he would be emotional about it, but I knew he wasn't going to be too upset because they did what they did with Peyton Thorne, which I thought wasn't a great idea. But they did that with Peyton Thorne, so I'm calling him thinking that, you know, he wouldn't be too upset. Oh, he was heartbroken, man. I thought they was going to have to defibrillate that guy after that.
Yeah. But I'm going to be anxiously watching him this season to see if he can get an opportunity with the Gamecocks as they try to kind of have a bounce back season. He's a heck of an athlete. I mean, really one of the better athletes at quarterback in this league, for sure.
No doubt.
All right, let's get to what you got going now. And, you're going to debut on Saturday night as the sideline reporter for the Crimson Tide Sports Network Alabama football radio broadcast. Another Damian Harris, a former running back at Alabama, had been selected in that role, and then he got an opportunity with CBS Sports Network. And so here, a couple of weeks out, Alabama doesn't have a sideline reporter, and Damian Square steps in. How did that come about?
Well, the crazy thing is I was in Houston and I got a few messages from some fans and, you know, people that's really close to me that keep up with the blogs and, you know, your show and different things like that. And they just sent it to me, you know, and throughout my career, you know, doing interviews and things like that, people would always say, man, I think you would be good, you know, in broadcasting. I think that's your future. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And I've always liked, you know, having a mic and talking sports and just, you know, sitting down and, you know, going back and forth with anybody who loves sports as much as me. But I didn't know how fast the opportunity was going to come. And I also thought that I would have to do that as a coach, you know, in the room with some players. That's how I always saw it. But I reached out, you know, to the people who makes those decisions, and they flooded the guy who owns the network. About the time he answered my phone call, he said it was a unanimous decision. So,
by popular demand, you'd already been hired and didn't even know it.
Yes. So they kind of put him in a corner. But anyways, they made it happen for me, man, and I'm super excited, man. Shout out BJ Stabler, shout out Ha Clint Diggs and Ashley Kimball and just the great people that makes the Alabama operation run every day inside of that building. They got that thing spread across their university as soon as possible, and it turned out to be a great thing for me, man. So I am just so excited to be a part of this. I'm so excited to be able to be down on the field in this new era with Coach and to be that close to Jalen. You know, I'm a fellow Houstonian. Mm-hmm. I feel like I'm one of the guys that, you know, made it the thing to do to come here and recruit guys out of Houston, Texas. I feel like this area is a big part of Alabama's success. And just to be there and be able to support Jalen and all the other guys that are there trying to make this thing, you know, keep going in the right direction. I am so excited. I need to focus on doing my job instead of being a fan. So that's going to be a hard part for me, but I have to call you and get some tips from you.
Well, I'll certainly give you some, but I think you're going to be fine. It is an interesting perspective, though, that you're going to have. Because like you said, I mean, you're just kind of rolling right into this. You're going to be on the sidelines. You're a former player, so you know the game from that perspective. But at the same time, you're going to be trying to watch it as a reporter too, so that you can give some updates. And so what Chris and Tyler throw to you. So, to have gotten this opportunity, and even though you're gifted as an orator, this is going to be new for you. So I know you're prepping. I know you'll be ready. But do you have any butterflies, or is there any anxiousness about what you're going to be doing on Saturday night?
Yeah, I'm very. I would say I like the nerve because I feel like when you're not nervous, you're not ready to perform. But I am nervous a little bit just because of the unknown. But I'm definitely watching some videos and, you know, on some blogs and just doing some things to make sure that I'm up to date, with some of the things that are going on day to day, and not just the broad picture, but some of the details. But I'm not afraid at all, man. With a little film study and, just taking my time and trusting in the process, I know that this will be a good thing.
Yeah, and the great thing is you have Tyler and Chris in the booth, and when they throw to you, as a former player, you're going to see some things that I wouldn't be able to see if I'm down there. And not that you can't be, hey, I've done sidelines before. You can be a good sideline reporter, without having played college football or played in the NFL. But certainly for you, you're going to have some insight. You're going to see some things. You're going to see some, maybe if a guy's, struggling with his technique or something schematically, that's a huge advantage of having played at this level, being a sideline guy. I mean, obviously you would agree because you're going to do it, but I do think you can give some unique insight.
No doubt. And then, like I said, just, the technical side of it, like I said, I'll reach out to you, man, to make sure I'm doing it right.
Well, feel free, man. I'm looking forward to seeing you on Saturday night. I'll tell you that. Hey, what about?
I get to town on Friday, so I have to get to you.
Yeah, man, for sure. You do. I mean, like I said, I'll definitely talk with you. This is such a big game on Saturday night. And I'd be remiss if I didn't ask you about. Listen, you were with Nick Saban for 5 years. Redshirt year and then 4 years, and you said 3 national titles. You saw it up close. I think we were all thrilled that he wound up doing 17 years here and the dynasty that he built. And now the passing of the torch to Kalen DeBoer. So you're going to be a big part of both of these coaches' lives as far as playing for Nick Saban and now being on the sidelines for the first game in the first season for Kalen DeBoer. Has that hit you yet, the passing of the torch and what you're about to be a part of?
It has not, man, because like I said, man, I'm such a fan, too, of the game, man. So I'm just so honored. I feel like I'm not worthy, to be in this situation, man. But at the same time, I'm very fortunate. And I just can't wait. Like I said, I've thought about it a little bit. I don't know what I'm going to do the first time I have to, see Coach Saban and possibly ask him a question. So I've been trying to, think about these things or, daydream about what possibly could happen, when I'm doing my job. But like I said, I'm just so excited about it. I'm open to everything. It's nothing that I cannot adjust to, man. I'm doing a little film study right now, so hopefully everything comes together. But I'm just honored that it's me, man. When I woke up and I saw the article, it kind of started off as a joke. I put it in the hands of the people who can make it happen. But you don't think it's going to happen. You know what I mean? And to get the call back, and I kept reaching out. I reached out to Chris Stewart. Chris Stewart, reached out to a few guys, and just to get the call back and get the job, it just shows you how great that university is. And like I said, I'm honored that they picked me.
Yeah, man, it is awesome. Have you had an opportunity, because I know he's getting ready for game day, since you've gotten the gig, have you had an opportunity to talk to Coach Saban on the phone?
I have not talked to Coach Saban on the phone yet. I reached out to him in a text message. I'm sure he'll respond to that as soon as possible, but I have not talked to him on the phone. But his family did reach out to me through social media and told me that they were very excited. I found the old picture of my son sitting on Miss Terry's lap, and we reminisced about that. But I haven't talked to Coach in particular yet. But I'm sure he's going to be happy to see me, and I can't wait to see him.
As part of the production, getting ready for the broadcast, and I know you'll interview Coach DeBoer going into the locker room at the end of the first half. Will you have an opportunity to talk with him in person before the game? Do you know what the plans are there?
I do not know what the plans are there just yet. They sent me a few things that I have to take a look at, based on how the day is going to go. I know that we'll get on about 3 o'clock right outside of the stadium, and then we'll go from there. But like I said, I'm kind of new to the process, of course, so I really don't know how we're going to move. So the first day I'll just be, wide-eyed and following the crowd. But hopefully I can get a groove after that.
Well, listen, there's a lot of excited people. As you said, you had kind of a grassroots campaign to get this job, and people that have watched you play, people that know you, broadcasters, everybody's excited and can't wait to see you in this new opportunity. I'm sure you're going to do well, and yeah, I'll look forward if I get to talk to you on Friday, great. If not, I'm sure at some point, even though I'm in the press box, sometimes before the game, I'll go down on the field a little bit. I'm sure I'll see you on Saturday night one way or the other. So,
okay.
Excited for you, man. And just
Thank you.
Give everybody my best, and can't wait to hear you doing your thing.
Yes, sir. Thank you, man.
Thank you, Damian. Damian Square with us this morning, the new sideline reporter for the Crimson Tide Sports Network, Alabama football on the radio, and he's pumped up, and he should be, and he's going to do a great job along with Chris Stewart, Tyler Watts, Roger Hoover, and the rest of the crew for the Alabama radio broadcast. And again, you'll be able to hear the games on Tide 100.9 FM, your flagship station for Alabama Crimson Tide Sports. And, for me, Chase, of course, I know, but to have known him as closely as I got to know him, when he was at Alabama as a player, he was dating Brandy at the time, and Brandy interned for us at WVUA 23. So Damian would come over a lot with her at night. And, that couple, I'm going to say a little something before we go to the break here, because I've never been married, but I know how marriages are hard. That's why the divorce rate is what it is. But when you see two college sweethearts that got married, have a family, and have made it work, that speaks right there to the kind of person or persons that they are. So it's not just from a athletic or sports standpoint, but really good people. So I'm excited for the Square family too, not just for Damian. So anyway, we're glad we could get him on. Hey, listen, next segment, we're wide open for phone calls, 205-342-9905.
And our cigar selection is legendary. Our lounge and service are world class. Come and experience the luxury of the mansion and see why it's a world-renowned cigar and spirits destination.
If you haven't already, you've got to try Tuscaloosa's unique breakfast, brunch, and lunch concept. Brick and Spoon, downtown Tuscaloosa, Timerson Square. It's fresh food with a Cajun flair featuring a full bar with build-your-own Bloody Marys and mimosas. Open daily, 7 a.m. until 2 p.m. Available for after hours of
best quality to our customers. So we just look at it as, hey, basically, we're your kitchen. You're just coming to eat in your kitchen. Taco Casa, under the biggest cactus in town.
Weekday mornings at 6 a.m. The Martin Houston Show.
Join the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care, Martin and Xavier. You inside Alabama's final day of preparation as we get prepared for Alabama versus Western Carolina. We'll take your score predictions on the Empowerment Strategy and Solutions hotline. Give us a call, 205-342-9904. We'll have our last and final thoughts as Kalen DeBoer era begins. That's the Martin Houston Show, powered by Box Eye Care.
Catch the Martin Houston Show from 6 to 7 weekday mornings on Tide 100.9. Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Sky partially sunny today. The chance of a few isolated showers or thunderstorms this afternoon or this evening. The high today 97, tonight's low 74. Tomorrow morning sunshine, isolated storms by afternoon. The high 95. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Follow the Crimson Tide on their journey to another national championship. Touchdown, Alabama! On your home for Alabama sports, Tide 100.9, and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
All right, 10:24. Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show, and the way it always works, Chase stepped out of the control room for just a moment because he has been on the radio, working since 6 o'clock this morning. So sometimes you have to go to the bathroom, and the phone started lighting up. If you were trying to call in and didn't get through, call back right now. We'll get you on 205-342-9904. I tried to run over there and answer the phones, but I botched it. Anybody that knows me knows the technical aspects of things aren't my strength. But we did get Tom. So Tom, we managed to get you through in time. How are you?
Gary, I'm doing good. Good show this morning, and I'm happy for Damian. I think he's going to be fantastic.
I do too.
As a sideline reporter. The only thing about him is he'll be so darn good, somebody will come get him.
Yeah, that could happen. It happened with Damian Harris before it happened to Damian Harris before we ever got to the first game.
Yeah, I would not wish against him at all. Because of opportunities. But, he's one of my all-time favorites. You remember Aaron Murray?
The quarterback?
Yeah.
From Georgia? Yeah.
Yeah, for Georgia.
Yeah.
You remember playing against him in the championship game? Aaron interesting enough, there's some ladies that are fans of the Bulldogs, Georgia Bulldogs, and they're older ladies. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
And they've been season ticket holders for years on top of years. And they were in love with Aaron because, you know, he was this cute little quarterback and khaki with sweater vest, all that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And they loved it. And the outstanding thing about it, he threw an interception in the championship game against Alabama at the Georgia Dome. And our defensive back was on the return, and Damian come around, and he hit Aaron Murray. I mean, depleted.
Well, I remember
that.
I remember it very well. Now and I'm sorry to burst your bubble. I'm sorry to burst your bubble.
Don't you start. Do not start. Don't change. Don't let. You cannot let the truth ruin a great story.
So you knew.
Don't do it.
I got to.
Don't do it,
accuracy and reporting.
Jerry, don't do it.
He hung up on us. I had to do it. It was Quentin Dial that laid out Aaron Murray. He went through all that, but I can't. He knows I can't go along with that. Chase, he knows I can't go along with inaccurate information. I love Tom too. Tom, man, maybe he should have let me know it was going to be satire in advance, and I wouldn't have cut him off.
Maybe Bud dialed. He'll probably come back. He'll call back.
But it was the decleat hit was by Quentin Dial, another big, strong Alabama defensive lineman that played in the NFL for a number of years. But yeah, that hit was, it was exactly what Tom said. It was a decleater. And it was a deal again where Murray threw the pick and then Murray was swinging around to try to get into, to try to tackle the interceptor. And boy, Quentin Dial, who was 6'5", 318 pounds, well, and Murray didn't see him coming, so you can figure out yourself how that ended. It didn't end well for Murray. But I hate to burst Tom's bubble. Let's go back. Yeah, that was Damian Square that put that hit on Murray. I didn't know Tom was going to hang up on us. My Lord. But that's okay because we got to get to the break. It worked out well. It's 10:28 here on the Gary Harris Show. Hey, lunch is right around the corner, and my friends at Innisfree Irish Pub have the Lucky Lunch Meeting 3 ready to go. And in fact, tomorrow we're going to have Wyatt Fulton doing his show over there live, and also the Miller's Edge for lunch. And I'm going to be going over there to do some shows too. Before the season is over. In fact, some of these Friday shows, I got to get squared away because Chase is by himself, and tomorrow we've got to kick off our Bama football trivia, so I need to be in studio. But I'm going to be on the road for some of these Friday shows to some of my different advertisers as well. But Innisfree, that Lucky Lunch Meeting 3, man, people love it.
It comes with a lifetime powertrain warranty. 1.9% APR for 36 months on 2024 Ridgeline models through Honda Financial Services. Not all buyers will qualify. See dealer for details. Offer ends 9/3/2024.
You see him on WVUA 23 covering sports and on Tider Insider TV on Tuesday nights. Don't miss a minute of the Gary Harris Show. Weekdays from 9 to 11 on Tide 100.9.
Welcome back into the Gary Harris Show. It's Speeds time. Jeff Spiegel, longtime sports anchor, ABC 3340, host of The Zone on Sunday nights, and every Thursday morning right here on the Gary Harris Show. And man, Jeff, I'm so pumped up. We don't have to. We had a little bit of appetizer with week 0, but it's full speed ahead here with week 1. Full slate of Thursday night games. We got some Friday night action right into the weekend. And I said this earlier, I'm interested if you feel the same way, even though you and I have been doing this a long time. I had a little extra surge of adrenaline this morning, just a little bit of juice, knowing that we got some college football tonight. What about you?
Yeah, I mean, it's fun. I mean, it's we've got Jack State opening up against Coastal Carolina. We got UAB opening up against Alcorn State. And so, it gets going. And then, of course, Saturday, full slate of SEC games. Exciting for us, Gary, because as an ABC affiliate, we've been pointing this for a couple of years.
That's right. You got the SEC package now.
Yeah, moving to ABC. So, we've got an incredible triple header on Saturday with Clemson, Georgia at 11, Miami and Florida at 2:30, and then Notre Dame, Texas A&M at 6:30. So, in addition to that, and then, of course, you got Alabama and Auburn. It's going to be a cool day.
Yeah, I hadn't even really thought about that, but with the CBS package or the SEC package, the big game moving from CBS to ABC, boy, for the ratings war there in Birmingham, it's been a big hit for 33-40. But let's start with tonight, and you mentioned it. Let's begin with UAB. Again, it is what it is. I want to get your thoughts. I kind of like the idea of playing a Thursday night game to start the season, but you're playing Alcorn, and you're not on TV. You're on the stream. I don't know. I'm trying to figure out, not being on TV, and I know that the incentive is we'll come to the, watch it, you can watch it on stream, but come to the stadium, come to Protective Stadium and watch us play. But it just seems like kind of an odd opener for a Thursday night with UAB and Alcorn State to me. You're there in Birmingham. What kind of was behind this?
Well, it's not the first time UAB has done this, opening up during the week. And I think it gives them an opportunity to, number one, kind of, be out of the shadow, of a big brother. Let's just call it what it is. They'll always be the little brother to, to Alabama and also to Auburn. But gives them a chance to, kind of have the stage, partly to themselves. We talked about this on The Zone, though, last week, and I think it really is true. And look, I think UAB is going to have a better year than 4-8, but there's no doubt about it. There's more buzz right now about the Jack State program than there is about UAB. And to me, that should be a concern, for Trent Dilfer, to try to kind of, win back the respect for his program and win back, some attention. But Jack State came out of the gate in Conference USA, won 9 games, won their first ever bowl game. And Rich Rodriguez certainly has, more coaching chops than Trent Dilfer does. And so I think there's a little bit of, a rivalry going on there and a chance for UAB to, who's going to come out of the gate stronger, UAB or Jack State. So there's kind of a little bit of competition, between those two tonight. And Jack State's got the advantage because, they are on TV where people can, more people can watch.
And I will say this, UAB's got the easier opponent because Coastal Carolina is no joke. And for Jacksonville State, at home tonight, as you said, on CBS Sports Network at 7 p.m., that's one they better strap it up tight. That's going to be a really good game.
Yeah, absolutely right. And I think, Rich Rod knows that, and I think he's preached that to his guys, and they are pumped about being on TV, but they're more pumped about the fact that, they think they're ready to go. They've had a good camp, had a great camp actually. And they've got a really good team and they're ready to show people that, last year wasn't a fluke. They feel like they can come back and get 10 wins and they're shooting for a conference championship, something they were not eligible for last year.
That's right.
Because it was the first year for them in that league.
Also a big game tonight for local interest because, first of all, Missouri's trying to make a statement that they're a legit, playoff contender and SEC championship contender. They open at home against Murray State. Murray State coached by Jody Wright, 2-time Alabama staffer. Dad, the longtime head coach at Pickens Academy. His brother Josh actually coaching TA tonight at Pickens County. So he won't even be able to watch the game. But, I know Murray State's outmanned in this one, but with Jody Wright, and there's a lot of connections to Alabama with that staff on the road tonight at Mizzou. So, that's got some interest outside of just the fact that it's an SEC team.
Yeah, it really does. And then, yesterday, Coach Drinkwitz kind of, answering Nick Saban's, talk over the weekend that Missouri had the easier path to the SEC championship game. And Drinkwitz was like, okay, I'm not going to deal with any of that rat poison, So, yeah, a chance for Mizzou to come out and just kind of make an opening statement. I know it's Murray State, but they should win that game, should win it handily, and we'll see how week one goes for them. And then as the year goes on, are they just a flash in the pan? Are they overrated? Or, underrated, but I feel like they're going to have a really good year. But tonight's a good chance to get out of the gate strong.
Yeah, it is. And then, of course, on Saturday, some really big games for the SEC kind of built in over the weekend, along with some of the potential blowouts. And you got Clemson playing Georgia and Atlanta. Obviously, you got Notre Dame at Texas A&M on Sunday. You got LSU versus USC on out in Las Vegas. But let's focus on the Crimson Tide and the Tigers, and we'll start with Auburn because I want a little more time on Alabama. Hugh Freeze said this week he really didn't know what to expect, and I agree with him. I think you've got a new coordinator on offense and on defense after just one season. You're staying with Peyton Thorne at quarterback. You're more talented than you were a year ago, but I think that a lot of people are curious to see this Auburn team. The good news is, let's just be honest. You're playing Alabama A&M. You're playing an outman team. A team. This isn't Western Kentucky or one of these teams that could potentially give you some trouble. This is a great opener for Auburn, in my opinion, in that they get to look at a lot of different things against the team that they're going to beat regardless.
Yeah, it's ideal for them, Gary, because they can go out there and cut loose. Those freshman wide receivers are going to be able to to run wide open out there, and there's going to be a lot of throwing and catching out there Saturday. And there's an expectation that has been built up, and Hugh Freeze hasn't run away from it. The fact that he's got some hosses out there. He's got some fast guys on the outside that can score from anywhere on the field. And he's kind of put the pressure on Peyton Thorne too, that, he's got a lot of confidence in this guy, and he feels like he's a whole lot better than he was last year. And there are some Auburn fans who are buying it, but there's some Auburn fans who aren't buying it. They want to see the results before they, go all in on Peyton Thorne. So, Saturday is going to be, a good little opening act. And then, as you go along, the schedule's going to get a little tougher. And but the good news is, they got those first 5 games at home where they've got the crowd behind them, and the hope is that they can get off to a 5-0 start, and then kind of go from there.
Yeah, and I think they have a good chance to do that. For Alabama, I've been saying this all week, Jeff. There's 3 types of openers. There's the high profile where both teams are dialed in. Miami at Florida, Clemson playing Georgia, A&M as we mentioned Notre Dame, USC, LSU. There's the Auburn type opener, the Arkansas type opener, where you're playing a Alabama A&M or Arkansas Pine Bluff, or teams that are just totally outmatched. And then there's the middle of the pack opener, which Alabama's got. It's a game that your fans are expecting you to roll, but Western Kentucky is a good team. Picked to finish second in Conference USA. Great comeback in their bowl game last year. Tyson Helton has established that offensive system that the Petrinos run, and they're no joke. So it's one of those kind of middle of the pack. Alabama certainly should win the game, but it isn't like you could just run out on the field and be all lackadaisical. This is a pretty good team the Tide is playing.
Yeah, this is coached by Tyson Helton, former UAB assistant coach, who took Joe Webb from a pretty good athlete to a really, really good quarterback. So, Tyson Helton's got a lot of credibility, here in this part of town. So a lot of people are going to be looking at this, and then, they've got TJ Finley, a quarterback, and he's big, and he had a big year last year, for Texas State. But I really feel like, this is a situation where, Alabama can take control of this game with their offense. I really think that Jalen Milroe is going to have a huge night. I see him, accounting for 5 touchdowns, 3 through the air, a couple on the ground. So I think the offense is going to have an easy time of it. I think the defensive line, is going to be able to, get and put some pressure on TJ because, quite frankly, he's a statue back there. And he's not going to be a big threat, to get out of the pocket and run. Where his strength is getting protection and hitting receivers who are on the run, who get in space, and they can make big yardage. Now, if they give him time to throw, and then maybe he can take advantage of a secondary that's got some question marks, coming into this season. Mm-hmm. But my gut feeling is that he's not going to get a lot of time to throw, that there's going to be some sacks made. and that Alabama wins this thing somewhere in the neighborhood of 52-7.
All right, real quickly, let me ask you about some of the marquee matchups in the SEC in Week 1. Let's start with Clemson versus Georgia. You've got it on ABC 3340, as you said, Saturday morning at 11 a.m. at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Georgia's the number one team in the country, but Clemson, there ain't no doubt that Dabo's got a chip on his shoulder. And I like what Kirby Smart said this week. The one advantage of not taking transfers is that everybody that comes on the field for Clemson has been in that program. You know, they're not breaking in a bunch of new guys other than some freshmen. Do you think Clemson has a shot in this one?
Well, I don't think Clemson's going to win. I mean, they're a 13-point underdog. I mean, I think they're going to cover, but I don't think they're going to win. I think Georgia's going to be too much for them. But you have to look at what Clemson did in the back half of the season last year. They started out 4-4, and Dabo was really under the gun. And then they won their last 5. They got a lot of momentum heading into this year. So, and I think they've righted the ship. I mean, I think they're going to, give a good showing on Saturday, but I think Georgia wins this thing by double digits.
Miami at Florida. You've also got that game on ABC 3340, as you alluded to. 2:30 Central Time in the Swamp. I mean, I can't stress how big this game is for both these teams and these coaches. Mario Cristobal at Miami and obviously Billy Napier at Florida. I mean, I think this is going to be a heck of a football game, Jeff. What about you?
Yeah, it's the hot seat bowl, no doubt about it. I mean, the loser of this game, the hot seat gets a lot hotter, for these coaches because, it's an in-state game. You're fighting for players. You're fighting to keep your job. And whoever loses this game, there's just going to be some whispers, for the rest of the year as, how much longer are we going to give this guy? And I think Billy Napier is maybe going to be more under the gun after this game than Mario. I think Miami goes in there and wins it.
And Saturday night, make it clear on that, Saturday night in College Station, a game that, A&M people are pumped now. They were all about Jimbo Fisher, but you know how quickly you turn the page. He's gone now. This is the third game of your triple header on ABC 3340. And now Mike Elko's the guy. When you look back, A&M fans they are the masters of spin. Well, once Elko left Jimbo, that's when it went downhill. They're convinced they've got their guy. Maybe they do. They got a chance to make a statement right off the bat. The number 20 Aggies hosting number 7 Notre Dame on Saturday night, Kyle Field.
Yeah, a lot of people were looking at Texas A&M as a playoff team. I'm not sure I'm totally in on that yet. But Notre Dame's got a good brand. I mean, they're gonna roll those nice and shiny gold helmets in there, when they come in there. And one thing about Notre Dame is that, the brand is as such where they can go into a hostile environment like Kyle Field and they're not intimidated, because they play these games every year. They play them all the time. So it wouldn't surprise me if Notre Dame came in there and pulled off an upset. But I got Texas A&M winning this one by a field goal.
And on Sunday night out in Las Vegas, Sin City, you got LSU and USC with Brian Kelly and Lincoln Riley, new member of the Big Ten versus SEC. This is a game that not only is it big for these two teams, I think it's big for just perception of the two conferences, the Big Ten and the SEC, don't you?
Yeah, and I think there's gonna be a drop off. I mean, certainly between Jaden Daniels and Nussmeier, but Nussmeier proved in the bowl game, that this guy can sling it. I mean, he's a good quarterback, but the big thing to watch here is has LSU really made some strides defensively? Because last year, they couldn't stop anybody. Right? That was the weak part of this football team. They had the Heisman Trophy winning quarterback. If they had any sort of defense at all, they could have been a national championship contender, but they didn't. So now you got a brilliant offensive mind here, the new Big Ten dude in USC, and it's a chance for Lincoln Riley to try to win back some respect too, and show that we belong in this Big Ten league, and we're going to knock off this big SEC team. So that's a very intriguing game. On Sunday, one that we have here too.
All right, Jeff, and quickly on the high school beat, Thompson lost a tough one last week at home against Grayson, Georgia. Now they play another high-profile game tonight on the road at Lipscomb up in Nashville.
Yeah, they did, and I've never seen Thompson struggle offensively like they did last week.
In that game. I mean, very fortunate to get it in overtime.
Exactly, and the telling stat is that when Thompson lined up in overtime at the 10-yard line, I think the announcers said that that's the first time they had been in the red zone the whole night. Yeah. I mean, that Grayson, Georgia defense had some dudes, on defense with Atkinson at linebacker, who's going to be a big-time, SEC star. Mm-hmm. Auburn thinks they got a good shot at him. And so, it's a great opportunity for Thompson to bounce back. Look, they've started out 0-2 before, in the Mark Freeman era and come back and done some amazing things. But I think there's some urgency here on Thompson's part, not on defense, because defense, I think you would agree, Gary, they're good.
Yeah,
they're okay.
Top notch. Yeah.
But offensively, I mean, they got to find a way to generate some offense and score some points and get some confidence back, because I've never seen them look as bad as they did. And Grayson, Georgia had a lot to do with that, certainly last week.
Yeah, I was watching the game thinking whoever that high school team was in another state that offered Trent Seaborn $1 million and his family to move in were probably thinking they're lucky stars. He didn't do it. Didn't take him up. I hate to say that. He really struggled in that game. Now, he did throw the touchdown pass in overtime, but he struggled. All right, one other high school situation. Hoover goes down there in that Broward County showcase last Saturday night and wins over Western Florida, 17-14 on a final second field goal. They get Spain Park tomorrow night, and this is a huge game, a rivalry game, and also Chip English, starts out 1-0, taking over, in kind of a unique situation. That's a big game tomorrow night.
Yeah, that was a big deal. Hoover, the only time they led during the game was when they kicked the game-winning field goal with 18 seconds to go. So it was a struggle, but I think it was the best thing for them to go on the road, and not only go on the road, take a plane ride down to Miami, a good team bonding experience for them. This is a great rivalry, but Hoover's got the best of them. Hoover's won the last 8 meetings, between these two teams. Last time Spain Park beat Hoover was back in 2015 when John Gross took them to the championship game, in the Super 7 there. So, Spain Park, Spain Park's the little brother here. And they think little brother can beat big brother. Well, we'll just wait and see. Another one we're looking at is Parker at Mountain Brook. That's a big game, too. A couple of ranked teams have both got off to great starts last week. Mountain Brook shutting out Demopolis, and then Parker putting it to Ramsey. So that's a good early test between a couple of strong 6A teams. That's another big one we're looking at Friday as well.
One final thought on Spain Park. How excited are they to be, moving down from 7A to 6A? They got to be pretty pumped about that.
Yeah, I think it's a better region for them. It's a better fit for them. 6A Region 3 is certainly a gettable, region for them. Tim Vakakis, won't say that, in those words, but everyone, who looks at the teams and how they're stacked up, Pelham, Helena, Chelsea, and all that. There's a feeling that, if Spain Park plays up to their potential, that they can win that region and make a deep run in 6A.
Yep. All right. Great stuff as always, Jeff. And I know busy weekend of football, and you'll have it all covered on The Zone on Sunday night coming out of that LSU and USC game.
Yeah, Sunday at 10:30 on ABC 3340. Really appreciate you, Gary. Thanks for the plug. Thanks for the time, and have a great weekend.
Thank you, Jeff. Jeff Spiegel, sports anchor, ABC 3340, host of The Zone. All right, it's 10:51. We'll take our final time out and come back and wrap up the show. We do have, we'll have about 3 minutes to squeeze in a phone call if you want to give us a ring, 205-342-9904. We'll also get you ready for tomorrow. We'll do that next here on the Gary Harris Show.
Coming up on The Game with Ryan Fowler.
Hey, coming up starting at 2 p.m., obviously we are now 2 days away from Alabama Crimson Tide football. We're going to talk to Rodney Orr, TiderInsider.com, Aaron Torres, Fox Sports. We're going to take your phone calls as we get you ready for Alabama Crimson Tide football 2024 edition, all starting 2 p.m. on The Game on Tide 100.9, 1230 WTBC, your home of Alabama Crimson Tide Sports.
The longest running sports program in Tuscaloosa.
The Tide Tailgate Show is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, Skyland Boulevard, Tuscaloosa, and the new location, Highway 280, Birmingham. Online at academy.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
The sky partially sunny today. The chance of a few isolated showers or thunderstorms this afternoon or this evening. The high today 97, tonight's low 74. Tomorrow morning sunshine, isolated storms by afternoon. The high 95. I'm James Spann on the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
The best sports talk in the state. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
10:55. We're going to go to the phone lines and close out this first hour. I hadn't heard from a pal, Ground Chuck, in a while, but it's football season, so Ground Chuck is back. How you doing, my friend?
Doing good, Gary. How about you?
Doing great, man.
Hey, I just wanted to call in, Gary. I always call in, and when I know something about some of your sponsors, like Evan Taco Smith and Jackie Houston, but I had an occasion to go to Alabama Credit Union the other day. I had an unexpected expense come up, and the lady there was able to get me the money and pay off a couple of things, so my payment was even less after I got the money than it was before I did. So
Chase, give us a little applause.
They really will help you there.
Hold on, Ground Chuck. Give us a little applause here, Chase. You got it ready? All right. We didn't have the applause, but yeah, that's worth celebrating right there. So yeah, Chuck.
And the lady that waited on me, she was really bragging on your friend Tommy Cobb.
Tommy Cobb, the Cobster, Juicy Cobb. Yeah. One of the best.
I hope you make it through the weekend, man.
Well, I'll tell you this, as you know, my advertising is relationship advertising. Everybody that I have on my show, I have a relationship with, and I'm glad you are enjoying the credit union. They are the best. Hey, real quickly, give me a score while I got you, because I don't know when I'll talk to you again. Give me the opening game score for Alabama and Western Kentucky. What do you got?
I think Alabama's going to win it 38-17.
I got you, my friend. Thank you, Ground Chuck.
All right, thank you.
Perfect timing. Closing out the show with Ground Chuck saying Alabama 38, Western Kentucky 17. As I said, I'll do all my SEC point spread predictions tomorrow on the TGIF edition of the Gary Harris Show. And we kick off our Bama football trivia giveaway from T-Town Menswear and T-Town Gallery in the University Mall. Oh, man, we're going to have so much fun tomorrow. It is going to be great. Chase, be ready, my friend. This will be your first Gary Harris TGIF edition during football season. So, hey, man, have your be dialed in tomorrow. Dude, when we do that contest, it's going to be crazy.
Understood.
All right. We'll be back tomorrow morning at 9 a.m. T-Town Sports Daily is coming up next. Have a great day, everybody. We'll talk to you again in the morning.
Thank you for listening to the